Hi there, this is David and welcome to my overview of some of the complete Final Fantasy I hacks for the NES found on romhacking.net. This is not meant to be a review of all of these hacks, it's simply meant to be an overview of what they have to offer, so you can decide if you want to give them a go yourselves. Some are definitely better than others, and there are tons of hacks to peruse on the site, so I just picked what I considered to be the best ones to go over here. If the hacks are pretty much nothing more than inside jokes among friends or just a graphical swap with Mario characters, I'm not really going to be wasting my time here reviewing those. I only want to review extensive full quality hacks here, so I'll be presenting these 7 hacks in order of what I believe to be the quality of the hacks, with the worst ones coming first, and then the more unique and finely tuned ones towards the end of the video. First up, we have Final Fantasy Otherworld. Well, if the god-awful color palette didn't turn you off already, the unbalanced gameplay definitely will. Right from the start in front of Canaria, you'll encounter imps, supposedly the easiest enemies in the game. Only the blue ones will cast ice, and the red ones fire, pretty much one-shotting anyone unfortunate enough to stand in their way. After grinding a bit, you'll fight Garland to rescue the princess, only he takes now about 20 rounds to kill. Then when you cross the bridge, you'll encounter giants. Yeah, giants, which you would normally only fight whenever you reach the Earth Cave, not before Provoca. This hack is not only ugly, but it's completely unbalanced, and I would avoid it at all costs. So, let's move on to some actually playable hacks now, such as our next one, Final Fantasy Epica. This is an older Final Fantasy hack, coming out in 1999, and it set the bar for future hacks, starring Ruins Chasers in lieu of Light Warriors, and taking place a century after the events of the first game. Many things have stayed the same, and as time marched on, many things also changed, especially town and dungeon layouts as well as the world map. The Temple of Fiends is now gone, and instead of crossing the bridge, you just head straight for Provoca to get the ship and begin your adventure. The vast majority of the dialogue is changed to reflect the new setting, but it is disappointing that there are no new classes, weapons, armors, or spells. This is still very much Final Fantasy. The only character change is that the Red Mage has been turned into a female gypsy. It's pretty decent and challenging, so check it out if you want to. Next up, we have Fnatnsy. Similar to Final Fantasy Epica, this hack completely changes the world map as well as dungeon and town designs, but it also adds many other things such as new equipment, spells, and items, and it boasts 12 classes to choose from right from the start. The story is lighthearted. At first, instead of saving the princess, you're tasked with saving some random brewer's daughter, and the townsfolk can't even remember her name. This is definitely a challenging hack though, so you will need to use all sorts of strategy to get through it. But if you're a fan of the original game, and you really want to tweak around with all sorts of different classes, this is the hack for you. After that, we have Final Fantasy: The Dawn Warriors. This is a cool little hack, but I must say, again, it's pretty hard. Taking assets from Final Fantasy V and basing the job classes off of them is a stroke of genius, but I just wish that the townsfolk actually said something different. I mean, Garland still calls you Light Warriors, not Dawn Warriors. Also, this is really a complaint for all of the hacks. I wish that there was some in-game way of knowing who could equip what weapons and armors, as well as who could learn which spells. However, this is especially egregious here for the magic because there's now summons, blue magic, geomancer magic, chakras, and mystic sword spells, but there's still only 2 magic shops. Getting to Provoca is quite the task, having to traverse over what is seemingly impassable, then going through a mountain maze. But if you like it again, check it out. And now to some really good hacks. We have Final Fantasy Ultra. This hack is built upon a previous hack called Final Fantasy -1, but Ultra improves on it in many different ways. Just like Fnatnsy, there are 12 classes to choose from at the beginning, and the world map is much changed. But there are some quality of life improvements here that I think are indispensable, such as a dash button, speeding up all of the battle animations, and importantly, a circle of sages in the very first town to tell you about all the different classes that are available so you're not just going in blind. And it comes with a README document that actually gives the player useful information, such as which classes can use which equipment. I mean, what a concept! Also, status and black magic has been really buffed, so those classes are really also useful. One thing to note though is that gold is much more difficult to come by, so you really will need to scour the newly designed dungeons for all the treasure that you possibly can. And next up we have Final Fantasy Double Plus. This is a really nice hack. All of the overworld and dungeon graphics are redone to look like Final Fantasy 4 and 5. It's beautiful. The enemy sprites are redrawn as well and taken from future games. And there are some nice quality of life improvements here, again such as the ability to dash by holding the B button, and no more ports, you can now land your ship anywhere. However, one thing that I did find to be odd is the class changing system. Instead of straight upgrades to your party, it just kind of switches. Fighters become white mages, ninjas become black mages, and vice versa, and the newly added time mages become sages, while the Mog class doesn't change at all. All in all though, this is highly recommended, and if you can't get enough, there is an expansion hack called World of Chaos that you can import your save to, which kind of acts as like a post-game. It's pretty sweet. And finally, we have Dragoon X Omega 2. While this is a hack of Final Fantasy, it's so hacked to pieces that now you're pretty much just playing an entirely different game, which I think is pretty damn cool if you ask me. Also, just a side note, this is a sequel to another ROM hack done by the same person from the original Dragon Warrior, and it changed that entire game up too. Don't go into this game expecting it to be anything at all like Final Fantasy. Absolutely everything has been changed around, from the story to the characters to the graphics, the music, the enemies, and even the battle system. It is a 100% complete conversion of the game. And if you're anything like me and you have no patience for grinding anymore, there is an easy mode hack that you can play which pretty much eliminates the need for grinding. So, if you're intrigued by this unique hack, by all means, check it out. Well, there we have what I consider to be the best hacks that you can find on romhacking.net. If you're interested in these, you can find the links for them in the video description. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.